There is something they are not telling you. It is off the internet. They didn't want everybody to see it. Do you know that Julius Malema, when he was giving his speech at Enugu, acknowledged that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, despite the fact that he's senior Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is his mentor. That Mazi Nnamdi Kanu lead him to the trajectory of where he is going now and is getting results. Unlike when he was doing it without the guidance of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Not literally that Mazi Nnamdi Kanu called him and begin to guide him or lecture him, but because of he keep on watching the videos of Mazi Nnamdi Kanu, that was why he was able to make impact in the politics of South Africa. Do you people know that they cut that part from the video they are posting on internet? If not for the help of this, my investigative journalist, I wouldn't have known that such a thing happened in Enugu. Chai. And when this thing was happening, a lot of people was advised not to use their video, their cameras to capture whatever that is being said there. Unless what they call him, the media houses zoo control. So they are the one that guide people and what they say on the outside world. God have mercy. So as it stands now, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the mentor of Julius Malema. He have acknowledged it, and so shall it be. Let us go straight to the reason why we are here. African Political School of Thought. Nnamdi Kanu's Pan-African self-determination ideology versus Julius Malema's Pan-African federalist ideology. That is what we are going to treat this morning. Michael Zekome delivered a notable speech during the season of what happened, or rather what transpired in the NBA summit or conference in Enugu State. My people, happy new day, happy new week, happy Sunday as well. Happy Monday as well, and happy new month. It shall be well with all of us. Please drop your own personal opinion at the comment section of this video. Both Mazi Nnamdi Kanu and Julius Malema are influential figures and proponents in their respective ideological context, advocating for the rights and autonomy of African peoples. However, their ideologies reflect differently approaches to Pan-Africanism, particularly concerning the right to self-determination and governance. Nnamdi Kanu's Pan-African self-determination ideology is what we are going to read now, starting from here. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu is the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, where his advocacy has been primarily centered around the Biafran independence movement in Nigeria. He draws from the historical grievances regarding colonialism, marginalization, and the so-called political struggles faced by the Igbo people in the Nigerian entity. His ideological foundation is drawn from the following sub-thoughts. Number 1, self-determination. At the core of Kanu's ideology is the belief that oppressed nations, especially ethnic groups in various African countries like the Igbos in Nigeria, should have the right to self-determination. He sees this as essential to rectify historical injustice and ensure political representation and autonomy. With self-determination, nations, ethnic nationalities, balkanized by colonial powers can gain true freedom and independence, thereby reducing the pervasive ethnic tensions in most African nations or countries. Nationalism. Kanu emphasizes that the importance of ethnic identity and nationalism, asserting that the survival and prosperity of every ethnic nationality in Africa, including the Igbo nation in Nigeria, hangs on their independence from Nigeria. This includes creating a sovereign Biafran state that will oversee the overall well-being and development of its people, bound in cultural mutuality without interference from erstwhile colonial contraptions. Decolonization. Number 2, another topic. Kanu's views are entrenched in the idea that Africa must liberate itself from neo-colonial influences, particularly Western involvement in African politics and economies. Kanu proposes that for Africa to be in control of her own destiny, the African people, governments, and institutions must strive to decolonize their mentalities, systems, and models dictated by colonial or neo-colonial powers, and to achieve this, the idea of continuing with existing contentious colonial borders need to be discarded via referendums. This, according to Nnamdi Kanu, is important towards decolonizing Africa. Cultural revival. Alongside political autonomy, Nnamdi Kanu promotes the cultural revival of Igbo heritage, positioning cultural identity as pivotal for self-determination. The cultural mutuality of a nation determines how their political stability can be. A multicultural country like Nigeria is replete with ethnic and cultural tensions, and thus hinders growth and development of the respective nations within the country. Grassroots mobilization. Nnamdi Kanu focuses on mobilizing grassroots support for the Biafran cause, utilizing social media platforms and public demonstrations to raise awareness and build a following to his cause by education and use of enlightenment strategies and tools. Such as his Radio Biafra, Kanu's ideological views are spread to the reach of the masses who are key to his movement. That is all about our leader, Mazi Nnamdi Kanu. Now, we are moving to Julius Malema's Pan-African federalist ideology. Julius Selo Malema is the leader of the Economic Freedom Fighting EFF in South Africa and is known for his radical leftist stances. In brief, leftist stance here emphasizes the advocate for progressive causes, support for disadvantaged groups, government service funded by higher taxes on the wealthy, and social change rather than tradition. Ideologies and movements associated with the leftist political stance include socialism, communism, anarchism, democratic socialism, and progressism. English, I beg, make una no laugh me. However, Malema's approach to Pan-Africanism is contextualized within the framework of post-colonial governance and the socio-economic struggles of the African workforce, especially in South Africa. Pan-African federalism. Number 2. Malema advocates for a united through a federal system of governance that transcends national boundaries. He sees this as essential for addressing socio-economic inequalities created by colonial and neo-colonial powers and fostering political unity among African states. Malema's approach does not consider the abolishment of existing colonial borders in Africa, instead clamor for a unified, or rather a united African continent. Collective economic empowerment. A significant aspect of Malema's ideology is the focus on economic freedom, arguing for the nationalization of land and resources to benefit the masses, particularly the disenfranchisement black population in South Africa. Solidarity among African nations. Number 3. Malema emphasizes the need for solidarity among African nations to challenge imperialism and neo-colonialism collectively, rather than pushing individual state independence. Number 4. Political reformation. Rather than pursuing self-determination or true independence, Malema's vision is reformative within existing African nation-states to achieve greater representation and equity in governance for all Africans. Malema emphasizes that a federalist framework for African countries, despite the existing continental organization like African Union, will push Africa to greater representation in the international community. Youth empowerment. Malema places a particular emphasis on the role of the youth in shaping the future of Africa, leveraging their potential for activism through educational reforms and active political participation. Malema also advocates the need for youth to engage in politics and economic development in their respective countries. Comparative analysis. Nnamdi Kanu's focus on identity versus Malema's call for African unity. Kanu's ideology is heavily rooted in ethnic nationalism and assertion of identity for the Igbo people, while Malema emphasizes Pan-African unity, viewing national identities as a tool for broader collective empowerment. Strategy for change. Kanu seeks independence and self-governance as a means of addressing the historical injustices faced by Igbo and other ethnic nationalities balkanized by colonial powers, advocating a clear separation from Nigeria. Colonial borders in context. Malema's strategy is about reforming existing structures for greater control and equity within African nations. Economic perspectives. Malema's focus on economic justice, collective ownership highlights a more socio-economic angle of Pan-Africanism, striving to combat inequality as a central theme. Kanu, however, prioritizes political independence as a pathway to self-determination and societal revival, including eradicating economic injustices. Approach to governance. Malema envisions a federal united Africa that challenges external exploitation and operates under a collective governance system. Kanu operates from a grassroots level, emphasizing the local governance and self-sufficiency for the Igbo nation and every ethnic nationality in Africa. While both Kanu and Julius Malema represent vital strands of Pan-African thought, their ideologies differ fundamentally in their approaches to self-determination and governance. Kanu's emphasis on ethnic nationalism and independence from colonial borders contrasts with Malema's vision on Pan-African federalism focused on structural reform and collective empowerment. Their divergent paths reflect the complexities and diversity of thought within the Pan-African movement, responding to unique historical, cultural, and socio-political experiences and grievances. It is important to understand that Kanu is seeking for self-determination of Igbos in Nigeria, while Malema is advocating for economic justice and political representation of marginalized blacks in South Africa. While both schools of thought are fundamentally aimed at the liberation of Africans, it is therefore imperative that our people are educated to clearly understand the ideological differences that distinguishes the both Pan-African leaders, Nnamdi Kanu and Julius Selu Malema. And this message is coming to you from the Family Writers Press International. I think now here we will take a break. The next video will be the message Michael Zekome passed to the lawyers whom he criticized and also made them to understand that they have become a tool in the hands of Nigerian politicians. In other words, he said that they are called to bar is nothing to write home about. Anyway, we're going to read it when we come back again in my next video. So like this one, share it, comment on it, and keep subscribing for more interesting videos. Please keep that in mind. We are coming back with another Ubonga news. Have a nice day. Ka emesịa nụ.